playing overhead?
Yes, yes, there is.
Did it stop?
Here we go. One, two, three, four.
Buenos dias. Mi nombre es Timoteo. My name is Tim. My pronouns are he, him, and I serve gratefully as minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. So who's rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs? No inherent worth and dignity for them. And how about the Philadelphia Eagles? Whoa, ho, ho. And who really doesn't care? No. Welcome, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno, California on this Bring a Friend Sunday. I want to welcome our rowdy crowd here on our Alluvial Avenue campus. We want to say a hearty good morning to everyone joining us on our online campus. This is the perfect time for you to share this live stream with your friends and followers. And welcome to everybody joining us later on Facebook or YouTube. We are truly one congregation in many places. Our Alluvial Ave campus sits on the traditional homelands of the Yokuts people. They are the past, present, and future stewards of this land that to them is sacred. As minister of this church in these complicated times, I assure you that here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno, you are welcome no matter your race or culture of origin. We celebrate you no matter what your primary or secondary language may be. Our welcome embraces all those with or without documentation, con papeles y sin papeles. No one is an illegal or an alien at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno. Those of us who are part of the LGBTQIA+ community are welcome here. We welcome gender diversity. We celebrate those of us who are transgender, non-binary, gender fluid, gender expansive, intersex, or just too fabulous to be contained by any word. Please know that we love you, we cherish you, and we promise you that you are not alone. You're welcome here no matter your religious background or spiritual beliefs or your age. Your neurodiversity is welcome here. You're welcome no matter your disabilities, the level of formal education, or the amount of money in your bank account. All are welcome here. Todos son bienvenidos aquí. If you're on our online campus and want your joy, sorrow, concern, or gratitude included in today's service, just text it to us at 559-337-3772. Be sure to text your name as well so we know who you are. You can also type in the chat box. That being said, let's take a moment to say buenos dias and greet one another.
Hey, Lorenzo, can you let him know it's ringing? He was at the podium. When Tim was speaking at the podium, it's ringing. He's got it. Hey, man.
As we prepare to begin this morning's service, I invite us to pay particular attention to Tai Tai and our prelude, because in just a few minutes, the prelude will become our song of praise, and we will be singing this song about leading the way with love together. Let's have the sound of the tingsha take us to that quiet, grounded place within.
Love, would you guide my feet? Love, would you light my path? Love, lead the way. Love, would you fill my needs? Love, would you do the math? Love, lead the way. Lead the way. Lead the way. And I will walk with trust today. And all I do, and all I say, I will follow. Love, lead the way. When I don't know what I'm doing, when nothing feels okay, love, lead the way. When everything feels broken and I'm holding fear at bay, love, lead the way. Lead the way. Lead the way. And I will walk with trust today. And all I do, and all I say, I will follow. Love, lead the way. Lead the way. Lead the way. And I will walk with trust today. And all I do, and all I say, I will follow. Love, lead the way. Love, lead the way.
Good morning. Buenos dias. I am Tiki Eineke, and my pronouns are they and them, and I am a part of the worship arts team. If you have a candle or chalice with you on our virtual campus, get ready as we'll be lighting it soon. The flaming chalice is the symbol of the Unitarian Universalism. The chalice itself is a pre-Christian symbol that represents many things, including the divine feminine, the great cosmic womb out of which emerged all creation. The fire, a traditionally masculine energy, is a symbol of the spark of love in the human heart and the light of reason in the human mind. Offering our chalice lighting words this morning will be Denise from our church's Norelma Walker Youth Library.
Good morning. My name is Denise Chandra. I am the founder of the Norelma Walker Youth Library and remain active as its treasurer and as a librarian. On behalf of the... Thank you. On behalf of the Naroma Walker Youth Library Committee, I am lighting the chalice in memory and in honor of Naroma Walker. She was born February 4th, 1918, and died March 6th, 1994, of Alzheimer's disease. She was the director of religious education at this UU church in the 1980s. She loved children and was dearly loved by them. She also loved children's literature and loved to read to children. It is for these reasons that the youth library at this church was named in her honor, the Naroma Walker Youth Library. It was dedicated September 28, 1997. Joyce Huggins, a longtime member of this church, thought very highly of Naroma. Dr. Huggins was the coordinator of the early childhood education program at Fresno State, and she is the one who hired Naroma as a teacher in the Campus Children's Center when Naroma came looking for a job following the death of her husband. Naroma would eventually rise to the position of director of the center. Joyce says that Naroma was reassuring with the children and had a very calming effect on them. That is the library's namesake, a loving, reassuring person who loved children's literature and reading to children.
Let us rise now in body or spirit as Tai Tai leads us in our song of praise, Love Lead the Way.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Love, would you guide my feet? Love, would you light my path? Love, lead the way. Love, will you fill my needs? Love, would you do the math? Love, lead the way. Lead the way. Lead the way. And I will walk with trust today. And all I do, and all I say, I will follow. Love, lead the way. When I don't know what I'm doing, when nothing feels okay, love, lead the way. When everything feels broken and I'm holding fear at bay, love, lead the way. Lead the way. Lead the way. And I will walk with trust today. And all I do, and all I say, I will follow. Love, lead the way. Lead the way. Lead the way. And I will walk with trust today. And all I do, and all I say, I will follow. Love, lead the way. Love, lead the way.
I invite us to remain standing as we say together our church's mission. La misión de la Iglesia Unitaria Universalista de Fresno es amar inclusivamente, crecer espiritualmente, servir con gratitud y trabajar por la justicia. The mission of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno is to love inclusively, grow spiritually, serve gratefully, and work for justice. May it be so. Please be seated.
Hola, buenos días.
Buenos días.
Mi nombre es Karen Ponetz, uso los pronombres ella o ella y sirvo con gratitud como directora del aprendizaje de por vida. My name is Karen Polnitz, my pronouns are she or they, and I serve very gratefully as director of lifelong learning. I usually join you from the far, bitter, cold reaches of the Midwest via the virtual campus, so I'm very grateful to be here with you in person today. And very grateful for this lovely warm weather you're having. What is that orange thing in the sky up there? I'm not familiar with that. So it's so good to be here always, and I love seeing everyone, so thank you. And I look forward to connecting with you after service at coffee hour. And today, I'm very grateful to share our time for all ages. So one of the biggest challenges I face within the spiritual call of my Unitarian Universalist values is how to create understanding with those with whom I really disagree, especially when those disagreements have to do with other really important parts of my UU values. It can feel so hard to connect and come together. But just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not worth a try. When I'm in the midst of a disagreement, it almost feels like we're on two sides of a wide, raging river. And it's up to both of us to mindfully and consciously build a bridge to cross the divide. Just like it's up to me to pick, which Lego piece I want to use and how to place it, we need to think about what words to use and how we want to say them. Difficult conversations can be really frustrating, and sometimes I just want to throw everything away and walk away. Just like with Legos. But that won't get me across the river. So I pause. I take a breath. I might apologize to my fellow bridge builder. And I try again. And piece by piece, loving word by loving word, generous action by generous action, we can build the bridge again. Sometimes, however, the gap is too wide. Or maybe the person, friend, or even a family member on the other side isn't willing to build their part of the bridge. Or every time you try and try again to build the bridge, they tell you that's not the right way to build a bridge. Or they take your pieces down as soon as you put them up. That hurts. And maybe that becomes a bridge we no longer need to build. It's not our responsibility to build the bridge the whole way across. And it's okay for us to recognize that it's time to pause, or stop building that bridge. But in those times, we can take our beautiful, wonderful pieces and we can build a different bridge towards someone or a group of people who acknowledge and agree to build with us and support all of who we are. Those are the bridges that will take us to wonderful new places where we can share wonderful new stories upon all of our shores. May you build bridges that will nurture your unique and beautiful journey. And may those creations enrich your life with wonder and much love.
We're going to invite our kids to follow Karen out the back doors and into their spiritual explorations as we sing to them.
We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go.
As we settle into a more quiet and still space, we gently bring our attention to our breath. Of our breath, the beloved Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Breath is the bridge which connects life to consciousness, which unites your body to your thoughts." In that spirit, let's take in a breath and imagine we are breathing in peace. As we exhale, we breathe out love. We breathe in peace. We breathe out love. And one last time together, we breathe in peace. We breathe out love.
As we continue to breathe together in this shared space of hope and possibility, let's imagine that our breath can carry us back over the last week, the last 7 days of our living. Question for us to ponder: what in the last week nurtured your spirit? What nurtured your spirit? Let's breathe into that memory and hold it tenderly.
Each week, we create together the space to share our personal joys, sorrows, concerns, or gratitude. We honor our lived experience and the feelings that are alive within us, among us, and beyond us. This morning, some of us stopped at the small table at the entrance to the sanctuary and wrote on a card. Others of us texted or typed it into the chat box. This is what has been shared.
Ali E. says, "I got my 81-year-old mom out of a rehab facility after a 106-day stay this week. I'm grateful to have her home, but I could really use a hug today." Sending you a big collective hug. And Diana, who has had a long and difficult journey, is finally back with us. Diana. And Diana says, "What a blessing to be part of such a loving and supportive family. Thank you for all the meals, cards, calls, and dog walks. I'm grateful to be alive and grateful for our church." We're grateful you are alive as well, Diana. Kim is glad that her back is no longer injured and is looking forward to participating in life this weekend. Amen to that. And finally, from April, I received a lot of disturbing emails at my federal job in the last couple of weeks. One told us to inform our coworkers if they are working on DEIA stuff, because DEI is a dangerous and radical ideology. Worst of all, I am a remote worker, so I can no longer spy on my coworkers, and therefore I can't name names. And obviously there's a touch of sarcasm there. It is a sad time for us all, says April.
We also hold close our beloved who are unable to be with us because of health or other circumstances. We remember Susie P., Judy P., Diana I., Andrew L., Armin B., Glenda R., Pat M., Robin C. This afternoon at 2 p.m., some of us will gather for a celebration of life honoring longtime church member Sam Zettler, who passed into the mysteries of death 3 weeks ago. Today is his 102nd birthday.
And I also just want to take a moment to remind us that it's okay to practice self-care. We are seeing and experiencing so many things. It's okay to not look at the images. Maybe we just listen to the radio or a podcast or read something in print or on screen, but images sear deep into our brains, and for some of us, that isn't self-care. Be gentle with yourself, be gentle with each other. Dear ones, this is not going to be a sprint, it will be a long, long marathon.
Looking beyond these walls, February is Black History Month, a time to focus on and celebrate Black Americans and their long, hard history of survival, endurance, resilience, accomplishment, and success. This morning, we remember and celebrate one of our Black Unitarian members, Florida Ruffin Ridley, born in 1861. According to the website sistersource.org, Florida Ruffin Ridley's mother was a speaker, editor, and civil rights activist. Her father was one of the first Black judges in America. Florida Ruffin Ridley was a writer, activist, and community leader. She became the second Black leader in the Boston public schools. Teacher. Florida and her mother, Josephine, founded the Women's Era, a newspaper written by Black women for Black women. It was the first publication in the United States to be owned and operated by Black women. Florida Ruffin Ridley and her mother also organized the first national conference of Black women in America in 1895. Florida Ruffin Ridley was also a founding member of Second Unitarian Church in Brookline, Massachusetts. She died in 1843.
For all that's been shared this morning, for everything that we are holding tenderly in the silence of our own hearts, we light our candle of community.
As our candle burns, please join our voices in our call to meditation on breathing.
Respiro, cuando exhalo.
dear ones, will you join with me in the spirit of reflection or prayer? Let us pray. Spirit of life, fuente de amor, God of our own heart's understanding, source beyond all names or knowing. On this day, may we remember that the ability to ground ourselves, to center ourselves, to reclaim ourselves is always as close as our next breath. When we breathe in peace, when we breathe out love, we breathe to that place that reminds us of our true identity, not the commotion of emotion that so often makes all of us go astray, but the true identity that we are all beings of light, beings of love, beings who hold hope, beings who create possibility. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Good morning. When I was a child growing up in Baltimore, we spent many family vacations visiting my mother's family in North Carolina. How I loved visiting there. Nanny and Papa lived on a 60-acre farm a few miles, or as Papa would say, down the road a piece, from the town of Fremont. Papa had a mule to draw the plow he used to till the soil. and a cow he milked every morning so he could deliver fresh milk to his customers in town. He drove his car for that. The farmhouse didn't have running water, but it did have a manual pump on the screen porch that we used to draw a pail of water to use inside the house. This lack of running water caused some inconveniences, like the outhouse, but in my memory, in my sunny memory, even that was fun. Comparatively speaking, the town of Fremont was modern, but very small and quaint. It had a population of about 900 people. My Aunt Louise, my mother's younger sister, was warm and loving. She played the organ and led the church choir in the small Baptist church in the town. The other church in town was the Methodist church. Or I should say, the other white church in town was the Methodist church. My Uncle Joe owned and ran the general store in town, where farmers in their work boots and overalls would gather in the wintertime around the pot-bellied stove, talking and laughing. My cousin Jojo was a couple years older than I, and my cousin Gwilla 6 years older than I. It was Jojo I palled around with. Jojo was popular and friendly and included me in everything he did, and his friends seemed to welcome me too. It seemed like everyone was happy to meet that northern girl, or Yankee, as they called me. It was so easy to get to know people there and to make friends. Such a different world from Baltimore. When the time came for us to leave to go home, I cried. Every time. I would tell myself I wouldn't cry this time. But as we started hugging and saying our goodbyes, my tears would well up in my eyes, and I would sob uncontrollably. Nose running, eyes turning red, awful. How embarrassing, but I just couldn't help it. How I loved these people and this place. Leaving broke my heart. Over the years, not much changed in Fremont. When I started high school in 1959, I entered an integrated high school. Around the country, the civil rights movement was prominent in the news. A sit-in at a lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. In 1960, Freedom Riders, the March on Washington. Jojo and Gwilla went to small Christian colleges in North Carolina, and both married and settled in North Carolina, in larger towns than Fremont, but still small towns in North Carolina. My family moved from Baltimore to New Mexico as soon as I graduated from high school in 1962. I continued to visit Fremont and Aunt Louise and to see Gwilla and Jojo when I was there. I never asked them how their lives were affected by the civil rights movement or how they felt about the effects of it. I never asked how they voted or about their political party affiliation. I know they have love in their hearts for their fellow man, and that they love me unconditionally, as I do them. My mother always said about me that I couldn't stand not knowing something, and she was right, but this is one exception. Unconditional love doesn't necessarily mean we have to know and acknowledge all the conditions. Thank you.
I invite us to rise in body or spirit and join in singing Love Can Build a Bridge.
All right, so I'm going to demo the chorus, and then we're going to sing the chorus together, and then I'll sing the first verse, and then we'll sing the rest of the song together. All right.
2, 3, 4.
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I'd gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly every heart could understand that love and only love can heal this broken land. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
I invite us to be seated. We'll give a moment for Stolen Thunder to head off. It was a week ago, amid the initial deluge of post-inauguration executive orders, church member Melody Allen, who's here today, found herself bringing her car to a stop at a red light. Melody, who gave me permission to share this story, came to a stop behind a pickup truck. Yeah, a pickup truck. You know, one of those big pickup trucks. Yeah. You know, one of those big pickup trucks that sport a huge American flag flying from the bed of the truck. You know, the ones that are driving to supposedly make America great again. Melody was already raw from the chaos and cruelty of those first days of the new administration, and that flag and all it stood for enraged even gentle Melody. Melody's rage, her fury rose up so fast that her first impulse was just to push the pedal to the metal and ram into the back of that big pickup truck. Even as she considered doing it, though, another part of her brain realized that driving her small car into the back of that big pickup truck wasn't going to end well for her or her car. And then in a moment of unparalleled Unitarian Universalist spiritual revelation, Melody remembered something from here at church, something we do week after week, a spiritual practice that grounds and centers her and recalls her to her best self again. And so, at that stoplight, behind that big pickup truck sporting that huge flag, Melody began to breathe in peace, breathe out love. Breathe in peace, breathe out love. And remarkably, to Melody, as she did so, Melody felt the heat of her anger begin to transform into the warmth of her humanity. Breathe in peace, breathe out love. Breathe in peace, breathe out love. In times like these, it's so important for us to not lose ourselves, to not allow all that is happening to separate us from our core values and our principles. In these days ahead, dear ones, we must hold on to our humanity. Part of the strategy of what's happening since the inauguration is to overwhelm us, disorient us, isolate us so that we go numb, harden our hearts, think only of ourselves, turn away from the tempest, and batten down the hatches to weather the storm. But that's not the Unitarian Universalist way. We want to open our hearts and reach out so that we are in relationship with each other, so that we can together turn towards the tempest and declare that we will continue building a world where all belong. We believe in the value of interdependence. We need one another if we're going to thrive. Our interconnection is what allows us to thrive, and we only thrive if we are prioritizing and protecting the most vulnerable among us. Several decades ago, author and world peace advocate Norman Cousins wrote, "I'm a single cell. My needs are individual, but they are not unique. I'm interlocked with other human beings in the consequences of our actions, thoughts, and feelings. I will work for human unity and human peace. Together we share the quest for a society of the whole, equal to our needs. A society in which we need not live beneath our moral capacity, and in which justice has a life of its own. We are single cells in a body of 4 billion cells. The body is humankind." Would you say that with me? We'll say, the last part, we are single cells in a body of 4 billion cells. The body is humankind, but more and more it feels as if that body is breaking apart. John A. Powell, a professor of African American Studies and director of the Othering and Belonging Institute at UC Berkeley, only Berkeley would have a department of othering and belonging. I think that's great. So John A. Powell writes that this breaking apart, this separation, is due to othering, seeing people not only as different, but as less deserving and of not equal dignity to us. Breaking is othering in action. When we engage in breaking, we deny the full stories, complexities, and even the humanity of those we consider other. While othering is about one's status in relationship to differing groups, breaking is the practice that brings othering alive in the world. We're seeing a lot of breaking happening right now. John A. Powell goes on to say that bridging is one of the ways we begin to transform the destructive nature of othering and breaking. If our vision is to have a world of belonging, a world where we all belong, then bridging is the salve, is the binding back together of that fragmentation. Bridging works to overcome the illusion of separateness by honoring our differences, transcending the notion that differences divide us. And instead, belonging is co-creating a world where everyone belongs. Powell writes, bridging is about healing the tear of separation. The tear itself is the injury, and our work is to both live our connection to each other and to heal that pain. Bridging begins by us not denying or denigrating the humanity of another person, no matter how hidden that humanity might be, no matter how hurtful that person might be. It reminds me a little bit of Dr. Martin Luther King's admonition to meet brute force with soul force. We need soul force right now. John A. Powell continues, at its deepest expression, I believe bridging is a spiritual project. To me, spirit is where we show up in the world a certain way because that's who we believe we are called to be by life itself, of which we already are a part. Then Powell asks a question that is so relevant and so hard. He asks, what if the other we're willing to bridge with does not recognize our humanity? Powell says, I'd like the other person to recognize my humanity, but even if they do not, bridging means I still try to recognize theirs. That's part of the way we claim our own humanity, which I see as part of a spiritual practice. We don't, he says, we don't have to give up our humanity. We are not indifferent or impervious, but neither do we let their animosity define us or them. Now, that's very academic. It all sounds a little theoretical. So let's bring us into the heart level with a true story about a choice to dehumanize or other or to build a bridge to them. Now, full confession, this is my absolute favorite teaching story. I first heard it some 30 years ago during a Unitarian Universalist Sunday service. I usually share this story once or twice a year, so some of us here have heard it before. Some of us have heard it many times. Some of us by now will forget that we've heard it many times. And for some of us, it may be the first time. In any case, let's hear this story in the context of today. It's a true story. It's written by Terry Dobson, and it takes place on a train in Tokyo, Japan. Terry Dobson writes, the train clacked and rattled through the suburbs of Tokyo on a drowsy spring afternoon. At one station, the doors opened, and suddenly the quiet was shattered by a man bellowing violent curses. The man staggered into our car. He wore laborer's clothing and was big, drunk, and dirty. Screaming, he swung at a woman who was holding a baby. The blow sent her spinning into the laps of an elderly couple. It was a miracle that that baby was unharmed. This so enraged the drunk worker that he grabbed the metal pole in the center of the car and he tried to wrench it out. But then one of his hands was cut and bleeding. Now, I was young then, some 20 years ago, and in pretty good shape. I'd been putting in a solid 8 hours a day of keto training for every day for the past 3 years. I thought I was tough. People are in danger, I said to myself as I got to my feet. If I don't do something fast, somebody's probably going to get hurt. Seeing me stand up, the drunk worker recognized a chance to focus his rage. "A foreigner," he explained. "You need a lesson in manners." I gave him a slow, long look of disgust and dismissal. I planned to take this turkey apart, but he had to make the first move. He gathered himself for a rush at me. A fraction of a second before I could move, suddenly this voice shouts, "Hey!" We both stared down at a little old Japanese man. He must have been well into his 70s, this tiny gentleman sitting there in his immaculate kimono. He beamed delightedly at the laborer. "Come here," the old man said, beckoning. "Come here and talk to me." The big man followed as if on a string. He planted his feet belligerently in front of the old gentleman and roared, "Why the hell should I talk to you?" The old man continued to beam at the laborer. "What you been drinking?" he asked. "I've been drinking sake," the laborer bellowed back, "and it's none of your business." "Oh, that's wonderful," the old man said. "Absolutely wonderful. You see, I love sake too. Every night, me and my wife, she's 76, you know, we warm up this little bottle of sake and take it out into the garden, and we sit on an old wooden bench. We watch the sun go down, and we look to see how our persimmon tree is doing. My great-grandfather planted that tree, and we worry about whether it will recover from those ice storms we had last winter." He looked up at the laborer, his eyes twinkling. As he struggled to follow the old man, his face began to soften. His fists slowly unclenched. "Yeah," he said, "I love persimmons too." "Yes," said the old man, smiling, "and I'm sure you have a wonderful wife." "No," replied the laborer, "my wife died." The big man began to sob. "I don't got no wife. I don't got no home. I don't got no job. I'm so ashamed of myself." Tears rolled down his cheeks. A spasm of despair rippled through his body. The train arrived at my stop. As the doors opened, I turned my head for one last look. The laborer was sprawled on the seat with his head in the old man's lap. The old man was softly stroking the filthy, matted hair. My dear ones, in times like these, it is so important for us not to lose ourselves, not to allow all that is happening to separate us from our core values and principles. We must hold on to our humanity. It is perhaps the strongest weapon that we have. Norman Cousin wrote, we are interlocked with other human beings in the consequence of our actions, thoughts, feelings. We will work for human unity and human peace. We are single cells in a body of 4 billion cells. The body is humankind. Que así sea, bendito sea. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Greetings, hola. Ida Jones here, in grateful service as president of your Board of Trustees and a member of the Worship Arts team. On the second Sunday of each month, we hold a special offering for a social justice group, organization, or individual that is in alignment with our Unitarian Universalist values. This Sunday, we are pleased to welcome Juliana Behar, who will share briefly about the important work of the West Fresno Family Resource Center. Please offer Juliana a warm welcome.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for welcoming me today. It is truly a blessing to stand before you and share the work we do at West Fresno Family Resource Center. Our mission is simple yet powerful: to empower and support the West Fresno community to achieve optimal health and well-being. We believe that every family deserves the opportunity to thrive, and throughout our programs, we work to make that a reality. For over 2 decades, we have been serving one of the most under-resourced areas in California's Central Valley, ensuring that families have access to essential services, whether that may be prenatal education to new mothers, school readiness for young children, mental health support, or job training for those seeking a better future. We are not just an organization, we are a family, walking alongside our community every step of the way. At the heart of our work, there are 4 pillars that guide everything we do: character and leadership. We invest in the potential of young people, teaching them to lead with integrity and build a better future. Educational advancement. We ensure that children and adults alike have the tools and support they need to succeed in school and beyond. Health and wellness. We promote healthier lives through education, disease prevention, and access to care. Economic empowerment. We help families gain stability through workforce development, financial literacy, and job training programs. We also offer economic empowerment. One program that is especially close to my heart is the Family Matters Support Group. This group provides a safer space for parents, especially mothers, to find encouragement, resources, and guidance. Many of these families face overwhelming challenges, but throughout the support, education, and faith, they find strength and love. Your generosity, your prayers, and your belief in our mission make it all possible. With continued support, we can extend our reach, helping more families break cycles of hardship and move towards a better future with possibility. Today, I ask that you keep our families in your hearts and prayers, knowing that your kindness is filled with compassion and making a real difference in the lives of so many. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us. May God bless you all.
In that spirit, I invite you to join me in our congregational response. If not us, then who? If not open hearts, then what? If not now, then when? If not here, then where? If not generously, then how? If not us, then who? Si no somos nosotros, entonces ¿quién? Si no con corazones abiertos, entonces ¿qué? Si no es ahora, entonces ¿cuándo? Si no es aquí, entonces ¿dónde? Si no damos generosamente, entonces ¿cómo? Si no somos nosotros, entonces ¿quién? The offering will be taken now, but the basket will be passed here on Alluvial Ave. There are many ways that we can give electronically. On behalf of the staff, I will be making a contribution this morning of $100. I know there's at least a few of us who can match me with that. I hope you will. And know that every amount matters. No amount is too small. May this church and our outreach into the community continue to be worthy of the many forms of your gifts.
As we enter the week and the year ahead, may we remember to hold close those we love. Hold them close with love and with unconditional love. Only with that unconditional love can we build the bridges we need to build in these times over these troubled waters. As we prepare to end our service and enter our afternoon, please join me in our chalice extinguishing words. Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestros compromisos. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts. Tim, I bet you have some reminders for us.
I do, thank you. I want to remind you that Cecily is our coordinator of community life, your go-to person if you are new or newish and you want to find out how to connect, how to belong, how to bridge into being someone who feels not like your visit, but like you belong here. So Cecily's your go-to person. Outside in the sun-dappled quad, we'll be having coffee hour. Oh, we're doing it in, yes, thank you. Because of Sam's celebration of life, we're actually going to set up in the sanctuary, thank you for reminding me, which means we're going to need some help bringing in some additional tables and moving some chairs around. So if you feel up to that, please, once we finish, look for Addison, who will be bringing all kinds of things in to set up for coffee hour. Also, I want to let you know that as you leave the sanctuary through those doors, we will be passing out slips for food for Wesley and Valley Children's Hospital's food pantries. Items needed this month and bring it next week are tuna and canned vegetables, other soups, beans, and pasta. Next week, the return of our world famous salad potluck. We ask you to bring a salad, your choice, that you can interpret that however you like, and we will sup together after the service. That's next Sunday. And I think, yes, last but not least, for reminders, this is the final day. No, these are the final hours of our online auction. How sweet it is. You have until 5 p.m. today to place your bids. So we invite you to do that. We're very close to what our lofty goal was, but if you are able, you can help move that thermometer a little higher. There's still lots of really good things available online. How sweet it is. We do have a tradition here at church that at the end of the service, we like to invite folks who are here for the first, second, or third time to rise for just a moment so we can gently welcome you. We're genuinely glad that you are here. If this is your fourth time, you now become part of that welcoming embrace of those here for the first, second, or third time. So if 1, 2, 3 time, please rise, and we will not leave you standing alone for long. Welcome, 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 welcome. I invite the rest of the congregation to rise with them for our closing words, sung benediction. If you came in a pod, feel free to join hands. If not, let's place our hands over our beautiful hearts. These are my favorite closing words. Go now in peace. May you leave this place knowing you are good and knowing you are loved. Take your love from this place, share it with the world, and stay safe until we meet again. And may the longtime sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and that pure light that burns within you guide your way on. Blessed be. Amen. Let's sing.
Go from here in peace, go in love.
Shalom and assalamu alaikum.